Okay, today we're going to explain how to take a back motor mount for a 2003 Toyota Corolla LE. Now, we looked on the internet and the web to find how to get that back bracket out. It is possible without lifting the whole engine to remove each individual mount. So this is the back mounting for the engine. It's back here by the firewall. If you can see, we have it right here is the new replacement. This is a pin to hold in the new replacement to the mounting bracket that's attached to the motor. So this little thing right here will not come out. You see this little U-bend? That does not, you do not remove that at all. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna loosen everything first, and always make sure that you have your transmission jacked up or your motor jacked up, ready to be supported. Okay, this pin or this U-bend will actually open up wider for you to remove the piece. Let me show you something we got a little difficulty with. Here's the old one, and on the old and new ones, they will have three of these pin bolts that you're gonna just screw a nut onto. Third one was here, but we took it out to reuse it somewhere else. This right here was the bolt that needed to be removed out of this nut. This nut is welded on to your motor mount. Now what you're gonna do is, if you've seen right here underneath, it broke off, so we had to cut it. And what we used to cut it was a Dremel, and we have these little blades that go for them. It's for metal. It's a 426 Dremel reinforced cutoff wheel. You can get that at any hardware store. Some motor stores may have it, but you're more better off with the hardware store. Now these discs, they will say Dremel reinforced, and they're a bit thicker. There is a secondary one that's more thin, more brittle. You don't want that one. You want the reinforced thicker one. You're going to take your time cutting it. The problem we had with this particular vehicle was that this bolt had broken off. Once this bolt had broken off, it was very difficult to get it between that bracket that connects to the motor mount. So you have to maneuver it up and on an angle. Now, as you move it on an angle, this part will kind of go back. And as it does that, this will stop it from coming out. And when that does that, obviously you're gonna have to cut it. So I would suggest kind of bracing it so that it's leaning up against the bracket. Take your time, cut it off. As soon as you cut it off, I was able to remove it with just this much left on. It will free itself. You will be able to move over the bracket. Once you do that, you wanna turn the backside. Once you turn it to the side, you'll be able to lift up and out. There will be some maneuvering, as there is wires in the way. You have some of your radiator hose, your coolant hoses down here. You have that's your brake line. And okay. And so as you can see, it can fit out of here. You just have to maneuver it. I did it between, just over this one. Over this wire, as you see going this way, I did over, and then the other side over, and then I maneuvered it in reverse. Now reverse, it looks just about the same. You go straight in, down. You're gonna lift the front over the bracket onto the other side of the bracket. Turn, put it back into place, angle it in, and put down. There is going to be some there's going to be a little play in there. So once you get it in, you're going to want to go ahead and try and start your bolt and just get it threaded. And then you want to make sure that these fixed bolts are seated into the proper holes. Once they are, you can start hand tightening them, and then slowly but surely you will eventually need your 14mm socket, as well as a homemade breaker bar as ours. We made it ourselves out of just some pipe. It looks thin, but it does help out a lot. And of course your socket. Hopefully this was helpful. Obviously there are steps beforehand. You want to prep, you know, the vehicle, jack it up. We didn't get into that today. This is just a problem we found that's not out there. So as far as getting it all started, I suggest go ahead and look at other videos or find a manual online that will help you out. I wasn't listening. Can you say it again?